You are now tuned into the sounds of
Big Nate Sports Talk.
It's on all the time, anytime.
You are now tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that's on all the time, anytime. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for all content. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Nathan Snell. Bring your sports game with Big Nate Sports Talk.
And thank you for that lovely introduction, Mr. Anthony Handy. I do appreciate you for that. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're having a wonderful Taco Tuesday. This is episode 8, season 13 of Big League Sports Talk Podcast. I hope you're all had a great day. I hope the week is off to a good start. We're in the second week of January. Can you believe that? January is almost over. Before we get into the video, there's a few things I want to say up front. I made an announcement on the YouTube channel yesterday. My team and I have decided for the next few weeks that episodes will be recorded. I will not be going live. Our target date to return going live will be post Super Bowl 57. For now, this episode is recorded. The Washington Commanders being the Dallas Cowboys. That episode will be recorded as well. The Maryland Lady Terrapins play Thursday. The men got a big win over the weekend as well against Ohio State. We'll recap. Those videos will be recorded. NFL Wildcard Weekend. That will be recorded Friday, if not Thursday at the latest. But Maryland, the Lady Terps will have a big game against Indiana. I have a Twitter space pre and post game for that. So I'm going to probably record that episode Friday. I'm going to try to get it. I will try to get it out Thursday. That way, Friday it's marinated and we're all ready for Wild Card Weekend for the NFL. But that's what's happening. My team and I have come to that decision for right now that all episodes will be recorded until after the Super Bowl. A couple things happened today. As well with the Baltimore Ravens and the Washington Commanders. With the Baltimore Ravens, we're going to talk about the game. It was the last week of the season. But also, before we get into that, again, I do want to really quick thank you for the subscribe. Thank you for the new subscribers to the channel. I do appreciate the support that I've been getting on the channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share. Hit that share button. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Unfortunately, a couple things happened last week after the Buffalo Bills and Cincinnati Bengals game with Damar Hamlin being discharged from the hospital. He's now in Buffalo. Good to hear that he's making wonderful progress. I'm continuing praying for him. The NFL actually gave the Cincinnati Bengals the AFC North based on record. If Baltimore had beaten Cincinnati Sunday, the location of where the wild card game, where it had been determined to be played in Baltimore, Cincy. And unfortunately, we lost, and we'll be in Cincinnati again Saturday. Um, Painfully, the Baltimore Ravens lost, um, and I will say this: I'm not I'm not disappointed in the loss because a couple things. We didn't have our key guys. Mark Andrews didn't play. J.K. Dobbins didn't play. Lamar for our fifth straight week did not play. Tyler Huntley did not play. Um, However, I was very, very bothered that Gus Edwards was playing. And I'm like, doesn't he not, should we preserve him too? But um, I'll let that one slide. But we did lose the game 27 16.
What the hell was that? Hey, what the hell? You freaking kidding me?
One thing that I've learned, and I've learned this from the great, former head coach Mike Tebow of the Washington Mystics, is there's so much emotion after a game. And I actually had to go back and look at the game. I looked back at the tape and what I liked and what I didn't like. Now, a couple things coming into this game. We waived just before the game. We cut Nick Boyle and Deshaun Jackson. Brent Huntley and Rashard Nichols, Tylen Wallace, and Daryl Worley were actually activated. Nick Boyle, unfortunately, I just think with the injuries, a torn MCL, PCL, meniscus, his hamstring, I believe actually came off the bone, if I'm not mistaken. He just really just couldn't. It was hard to see him go. I think that one thing it's his perseverance, but I think that when you've drafted Isaiah Likely, you drafted Charlie Collier, Josh Oliver, I still think that it's possible you can see him next year, but I just think with the injuries, you had to make roster moves. Deshaun Jackson, I was not keen on the signing of a couple things. He only played 7 games, and I feel like to me this was just a roster. This was just because of you need to get the 53-man roster ready for the playoffs. He didn't really do much. There's really not much you can say for Deshaun. The really only bright spot he had was the Jacksonville game, and that was it. Those 2 moves really did not bother me. It could be possible he'll go back to the practice squad, but for me, I just didn't really see the benefit of the signing. I thought that it was a cheap move to just once again hide the fact this receiving core has just been terrible this year, and that can't be ignored going forward into the offseason. That happened. But we're going to get into the game. Roquan Smith did get a contract extension. We're going to talk about that afterwards. A couple of things that stood out to me. We lost by 11 points, and I'm not too concerned about that. I think that going forward for me, this was if you had everybody out there, it's different. The fact that you chose to rest your starters, I feel like it was different. I think Anthony Brown, for the most part, held the fort down. I really wasn't too concerned with it because, unfortunately, this was a meaningless game for us. There's not really much you could say. I was hoping we would come out I mean, you didn't like not enough firepower, and I mean, our backups did a little bit of everything. And when you turn the ball over, four winning games. Um, Cincinnati, this was their game. I felt like the decision of the coin flip, I think, kind of pissed them off. Um, and for me, I thought that what was interesting was I think they're they're ready. For me, last year, watching the same Cincinnati team that beat us, and they demolished us on the road. Um, I feel like what's going to stand out for me is the offense. The offense is key to beating Cincinnati. Um, I think listening to the presser of John Harbaugh, even going into the game, talking about Lamar, um, even really talking about the game, I think that's fired him up. I think he's ready for the playoffs. He's 8-0 on the road as a head coach. Bring your head on that stat. Uh, um, but nothing really much happened. Your running game. Um, I mean, Kenyon Drake, Gus Edwards, who really shouldn't have been even playing. Um, Anthony Brown has some work to do, but it's going to be really interesting watching this same offense go back to Cincinnati, because I think what I'm seeing when you sign Sammy Watkins again, and you haven't truly used your receivers practically since week 3, week 4. You're not utilizing them in the offense. Even again, the play calling. I just really right now have zero. I just have low confidence in this offense. It has to be consistent. They have to. To me, is the red zone offense going into that game. There was really nothing that I could really take away from this game other than it was meaningless. We got. I mean, again, I'm not going to lie. Like the first matchup, we held them to 17 points, but we allowed 20 points defensively. The offense gets a pass because you didn't have your key starters. Anthony Brown, he did make some big throws. He did out. I would say he kind of outplayed Joe Burrow in the second half. Isaiah Likely, I think, is going to be a big instrumental part of the offense next year, even this weekend. For me, I just think the biggest thing is, what does this team look like next week, this upcoming weekend? Because I think they can win. My confidence level is low because of a couple things. Without Lamar Jackson, that offense is nothing. Because once you take, I got it. These guys, they got to step up. The others around Lamar have got to step up. And Lamar has to step up too. But I was not a really fan of you going into this game. You rested four of your starters with a third string quarterback. There was some scrappy effort. There was a competitive effort. I thought we had a chance. So I mean that's pretty much the takeaway. That's what it was. This was pretty much it was a scrimmage. Get the second, third stringers, get their experience, get their legs work, get their feet going, and get our starters rest next week. I mean, on Cincinnati side, offensively, you weren't that great. Joe Mixon gained 2.5 yards per carry. Joe Burrow averaged, I think, was about 5 yards per carry. I thought the defense was the key for Cincinnati. I think they made did a good job of making Anthony Brown not make good decisions in the pocket. They had a touchdown, strip sack. I just thought that when the when the first play of the drive where he tried to find Isaiah Likely and over in this and Jesse Bates, and they scored. Um, you know, I really can't speak to much any of other that, but um, I just think that personally, I kind of would like to know why we rested Tyler Huntley, because I feel like if you decide to rest him, then we weren't really expecting anything. It's interesting with him putting in the starting position. Um, we've only scored 17 points, and the Bengals have actually scored 17 or more points in pretty much all except one or two games. Um, but other than that, that offense Sunday for them, I don't know what that was. I saw Jamar Chase and T Higgins drop some passes that are money for them. Um, I felt like our defense, it took away stuff they wanted to do, throw the deep pass down the field, throw to the sidelines. You know, there's a lot of check downs, there's a lot of small gains, and I think that's going to be the key. You're going to have to beat Baltimore. Um, just you got to make some adjustments, and I felt like we kind of exposed it. But other than that, more injured. I think Alex Kappa, he rolled up with his leg. I hope he's doing well. Well wishes. And they can't really look to have another starter, to me, go down. And also, too, I also want to point this as well. In the fourth quarter for Cincinnati, I watched them play Tampa too. They struggle in the fourth quarter. I thought Baltimore was too, but no one's watching Cincinnati. They had a 17-point lead Sunday. I mean, they still won the game, of course, but same thing. They were down Tampa Bay, if I remember correctly. They were down 17-0 against New England. They were up 22-0. I'm going to be looking for that in the matchup, because to me that's going to be key. But I really do think that that was really the game. I mean, me personally, once and then Harbaugh, his time management, to burn the two timeouts. He tried to challenge the one play that made absolutely no sense, and then he burnt the timeout. You should at least have two timeouts with under 3 minutes. But yeah, that was pretty much the game. I did not. They had won the division, and we had nothing to really play for, but really just get our health, just rest our starters, make sure everybody's healthy, and be ready for that. So
it's like, F it, man.
That's pretty much it. So I'll have the preview for that game. I'll have that up. Let's shoot for Friday. To have that up. But let's get into the final message.
Incoming message.
Thoughts are running through my mind, so I took some time to find a minute or two to organize them.
The final message, ladies and gentlemen, is for me. I love talking sports. I try to be fair. I try to be balanced as best I can. Do I have biases? Yes. We can agree to disagree. But one thing I've noticed when we're having discussions, I think sometimes people are quick to jump the gun and not hear your point of view. I was having on a phone conversation just yesterday with a friend, and we were talking about the Washington Mystics, and he was like, "Why don't you just accept the fact that they're not a championship team?" And I'm like, "Well, what makes you think that?" And he just goes, "Well, I just see the team that they need a lot to adjust, and they need this piece, need that piece. Like you've been, unfortunately, like you called it, they'll make the playoffs, but you said last year they'll make the championship, and they didn't. Like, is your position changed?" I said, "No, it's not changed. Even throughout the season," and I pointed out, I said, "Look, the Mystics still lacked shooting in some places. Did I think it would get better? Sure. But let's also remember, you didn't have Elena there for a minute. You didn't have, you had some injuries." And he was like, "Well, what's the plan for the offseason?" I said, "Well, the biggest thing is Maisha Hines-Allen getting back healthy. You look for a shooter. You probably need to figure out your bench, who stays, who goes." But to say all that is that I try to be fair and balanced. I try to look at both sides of the argument, and that's just me. I mean, we can agree to disagree, but I try to be fair. I know that in the real sports world of Aspen and others, where the opinion is the opinion, but we have the right to change the narrative, and we have a right to ensure that everyone hears both sides of the story. And that's just where I'm at. So my final message is just be you, be authentic. For me, I'm still trying to find what my identity is as am growing in this sports community. That's just my final message. So that's going to end the episode. Thank you for tuning in on this episode, ladies and gentlemen. I do appreciate the support that I have been getting on the channel and on the podcast. Really quick, I have downloaded every episode of season 11 and season 12. I hope to have that uploaded. My goal is this weekend. I apologize. Had some things outside of YouTube, getting ready for another semester of school. And yes, I will have those episodes uploaded. I did not realize it's really not easy trying to balance recording or going live and then uploading it on other platforms. But it is achievable. We will get it done. The next episode will be recorded. That's episode 9, season 13, the Washington Commanders. Tomorrow is Wednesday. The Maryland Terrapins recaps for the games. Those will be recorded as well as the NFL Wildcard Weekend. We're recapping each game as well. That will be recorded. And then we'll get ready for the divisional series. We will at some point talk about the Washington Wizards. I did say I'm going to get a video in here at some point. I was supposed to do a preview, and that fell apart. But we're at the halfway mark. I'm already kind of like, like the white flag is like in my hand, and I'm about to just start waving it because, another year of disappointment. But until then, next episode. This episode will be up tomorrow, as well as episode 9. So until then, thank you for tuning in. I hope each and every one of you have a great evening and have a good night. Peace. See ya.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode and you want to see more content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bring your sports game on Big Nate Sports Talk.
It's on all the time, anytime.
Thank you. And you help me retain my sanity. Thank you. I want to thank you. And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you for everything.